Oh, there we go. Thank you. Yes, that's what he usually says. Okay. All right. So again, tonight's discussion is just about race, poverty manifestation, and just how we cannot accept the world's views on what they may think about us because of who we are, not by choice, but who if you want to say God, the universe, whoever decided for us to be, and just how we have to stand in that power and reject those beliefs that are really, they're just really put into our minds every day, that who we are is a mistake and that we can't get something because of who it is that God made us to be. Okay, so the color that matters is green. I am a green person. So I really like Reverend Ike because he really emphasizes that the most important color of the rainbow is green, and that's the color of money. Because we know that money can get you out of a lot of things. It doesn't matter who you are. A lot of times, sadly, it doesn't matter what you've done. But if you can pay the cost to be the boss, that could really help you through a lot of different things in life. So our agenda tonight is just, we have 4 areas: why you must choose to be green, poverty, what history has taught us about it, and that now is the time to take action. So I have here just a money power affirmation. It says, I'm created in perfect image. My money power is not determined by race or economic status. Money is my right. I choose to honor my ancestors by being rich. Unlimited opportunities of love, health, wealth, success, and money are flowing to me now. I am so grateful. So it is. So, of course, this is something that you can take and use. I don't know about you, but I probably say about, I don't know, 5 to 10 different affirmations during the week. Please don't think you have to stay with an affirmation. Really just say the one that means the most to you, because an affirmation without feeling is not a good affirmation at all. So when you feel like that power, like you're like, I don't need this anymore, so switch. So this is just another one that you can add to your affirmation bank. So you can make things happen as you want them to happen when you learn to make positive decisions. Another quote by Rev Ike. And why you must choose to be green, overriding the world narrative. Excuse me. So as I was saying, like here lately, it seems like I've been seeing a lot of things on like TikTok about racial profiling, Karens. I was at the gym last week and I saw how in Minnesota or Minneapolis, some city in Minnesota, where the teacher union says that if you're a white teacher, even if you have seniority, you'll be the first to go over a teacher of color. And that just like really took me by surprise. I'm like, why is this a thing? We already know that there's a teacher shortage nationwide. Why would we create further division by then targeting a group just because? But my thing was, there's more than enough teaching positions open. Why do this? So just, you see, like seems like every day, every week, just seems to be some type of new racial tension that comes up, but we have to reject these things because we are created in divine image, and who we are has no impacts or effect on what it is that we can have, we can be, and we can do. So you can't get ahead if you blame who you are as a reason you didn't get what you desire. So many times our default response as to why we're mistreated or overlooked is because of our race or economic status. By believing and reaffirming this belief, you are saying you were sent to earth to fail, and who you were created to be is a mistake, right? You're not a mistake. I'm not a mistake. And there's no failure or mistakes in divine law. And that's something that we really have to put in our minds and really have to be willing to accept, because that is not the popular opinion, right? And one trait about millionaires, billionaires, they generally go against popular opinion. So this belief right here is not popular. I don't hear anyone talking about it, right? But it's the truth. Because when we accept that we are created in divine image, we know that it's a person choosing to mistreat someone, right? Because of their race or economic status. It's not the universe. It's not God doing that to you. That's a person choosing to do that to you. So just really accepting that and understanding that we are not mistakes. Regardless of whatever we look like, we're not a mistake. So my race and or economic status is my detriment. Only if I choose for it to be, right? Only if you want it to be, can these things be so. And it's very easy to take our personal experiences in life and those we see on social media. Hold on, somebody pop in. Yeah. Okay. And the news, just to pinpoint reason why an outcome was the way it was, right? Even though it was a person's choice, right, to treat someone that way, not the universe. So just really reiterating that, like a person, even if a person chose not to give someone a job, right? That's because their choice. They chose to do that based on whatever reason they chose. That wasn't the universe doing that to you. So we can't accept that they didn't do this to me because of blah, blah, blah. They did that to you because they wanted to. And anytime you are mistreated or overlooked, you have to reaffirm, I'm never overlooked in the divine's eyes. Each and every good and perfect thing is always available to me. Always available to me. So this makes me think about, I heard about an incident at a high-end restaurant in Memphis called Houston's. And the guy said that, he felt he was racially profiled when he went to the restaurant because they said he smelled like weed. And I was like, it was funny to me, only because it turned out he was an off-duty cop. So I was like, oh gosh. And in that moment, I almost said, well, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there in, I guess, solidarity, right? A lot of times we do things because we're like, well, because that happened to somebody, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to give those people another chance, right, to do the right thing, to make the right choice. And so I said to myself, I said, no. I said, right now is actually the best time to go, because now they know that because of a choice someone made, the heat is on them, and they're going to be provide exceptionally better service, right, to people who look like whoever, because they don't want their name, they don't want their restaurant smeared in the news. So just really taking that chance and saying, no, let me go and have my own experience, right? And basing what decision you make based off what you believe. And so something I do before, let's say I go to a restaurant, anything like that, I purposefully tune my mind to say, wherever I go, I'm always treated well. Because it's just like, you're not affirming that something could happen. What you're affirming is that you expect the best. And so that takes you out of that mindset that, oh, this might happen because of A, B, C, D, and E. No, I'm going to go and have the best time ever. So just really immediately reject that who you are depends on how the universe treats you. Like, that's not true, because the universe treats everyone the same. Of course, remember, if anybody has anything they'd like to add, you can always, jump in. So choosing to be green. So one thing we have to realize, right, and that we know to be true, people seem to magically overlook things when money is involved. Okay, so it's important to use money as a tool and as a reason to get what you want. Of course, as long as there's no harm to none. I just always assume that. I don't say that because I know no one here is here to harm anybody. They're not going to use money to harm anyone, right? They're not going to knock anybody over the head to get ahead, But and another thing, who cares if you're the only person who looks like you in a crowd? Who gives a darn? A lot of times we make decisions based on who's going to be there. We create assumptions in our mind based on if we're the only person that looks like us in a room, what our what our experience is going to be. We really have to tune into that, because if you think about it, that's a self-limiting belief, right? That's a belief that you're not good enough to be in a room of people who don't look like you. So what you're saying is the only people who are good are people who look like you, which this is not the world, right? The world is full of people of all different shades, people who are beyond black and white, right? We have brown, we have albino, there's tons of different other people. So it's hard sometimes to break out of that. But remember, you want to go where the money resides, right? That's what I said. Be where the money resides at all times, in all situations. It doesn't matter who is there. You want to be there, because that's just saying that you are money. And wearing money is a badge of honor. People know rich energy, right? Service at a 5-star restaurant is different than a drive-thru. That's just the truth. That's the truth. And so, like, don't hide from what you deserve because you think someone's going to mistreat you or neglect your needs based on how you look or who you are or how much money they think you may or may not have. If you project the rich energy, it does not matter. It does not matter. And if you come to a point where you feel like, I don't want to use my money here, that's always your choice. You are in control of your money. Don't think just because you're somewhere and you have to use, you want to use your money, but you're not receiving that rich chick energy, treatment, don't use your money there, because you won't feel good about it. And that's the most important thing, because anytime you use money, you want to feel good about it. So really turning off the news, like rejecting any and all visualizations, audios, or stories of mistreatment based on race and poverty. Race and poverty. I'm sorry, I'm addicted to these Arizona green teas. I don't know if anybody's had them in the can. Oh my gosh, they're so good. And so, yes, I want to just say this. There are racists and bigots. There are. I'm not saying that they're not. But why affirm them with statements like, I didn't get it because I'm Black, right? That statement only attracts more of it into your life. That's going to only attract more mistreatment into your life, right? So one thing I like to say, God bless, I only attract green people in my life. So they can look like whoever, be whoever. I just want to be around people who have what I want to have and be what I want to be. And that doesn't matter what they look like, as long as it's all about being wealthy and having money and being good people. So celebrate freedom, celebrate financial freedom, freedom from mental bondage, the freedom of knowledge, like honor the struggle, right? By becoming rich, right? Regardless, everybody's ancestors, right? We know especially people of color, yes, slavery and bondage, but like honor that struggle by becoming rich, right? Having the life that many of our ancestors did not have. So honor that. So poverty, it's time to clean up your mind. So I just have this brief video by Rev Ike. I think it was really good. We're not gonna watch all of it, but it says, are you being subconsciously programmed to be poor? That's the name of the video.
Worry about theft of your mail and packages? Wouldn't it be great if you can manage and read?
Our guest, the flamboyant, some would say outrageous Reverend Ike.
A lot of people, and especially religious people and some minorities, have been just subconsciously programmed to be poor. And some people's religion have taught them, blessed are the poor. And and a rich man can't get into heaven. I usually say, well, if a rich man can't get into heaven, where does a poor man stand a chance? And so a lot of people try to be poor in some religions, as you know, and this is interesting too. People take the vow of poverty. But there's a group called the Little Something Another of the Poor. I'm not going to call the whole name, but they have a very wealthy, multi-million-dollar investment program. So I usually say, ain't nobody poor but the poor. And the best thing you can do for the poor is not be one of them. What does that mean? In other words, do something for yourself so that you won't be poor. And by your example, you can motivate the poor and you can help the poor. You see, the poor don't run factories so that they can hire people. It's only the productive people who can help other people.
Given what you preach, given what you've said about convention.
Okay, we're just gonna of course this is in it, so if you want to watch the whole clip. But I really like that video because it really affirms another good book to read is The Science of Getting Rich, right? So a lot of times what happens is that for me, for example, right? So I taught in the inner city for about 10 years. And so I was always satisfied with my salary because I said, well, I'm doing better than a whole lot of people. Who's the author of the book? Oh, The Science of Getting Rich. What's his name? Wallace D. Wattles. That's his name. And so I would feel like better, but my thing was like, if I wanted more, right, I was going to leave that behind. So a lot of times we don't want to move up because we think we're going to leave somebody behind. But as Reverend Ike was saying, it's actually motivation, right? It's not forgetting who you are. It's not forgetting, where you came from, because life is not supposed to be a struggle. And so that was actually going to be, can I make this bigger? Can I make this bigger? I'm just going to read this. I'm sorry, it's not as big. But this is just an excerpt from The Science of Getting Rich, and he just talks about poverty, and this really helped me to be okay with wanting more and giving up my teaching job, because I was always told that I had to go back, and so I went back. But going back, I didn't get ahead, if that makes sense, because I was only going to be limited in the position I was in. But this is his take on poverty. And this was written in 1910. Do not talk about poverty. Do not investigate it or concern yourself with it. Never mind what its causes are. You have nothing to do with them. What concerns you is the cure. Okay? The cure. Do not spend your time in charitable work or charity movements. All charity only tends to perpetuate the wretchedness it aims to eradicate. I do not say that you should be hard-hearted or unkind and refuse to hear the cry of need, but you must not try to eradicate poverty in any of the conventional ways. Put poverty behind you and put all that pertains to it behind you and make good. Get rich, right? That is the best way you can help the poor, like Reverend Ike said. And you cannot hold a mental image, which is to make you rich, if you fill your mind with pictures of poverty. Do not read books or papers which give circumstantial accounts of the wretchedness of the tenement dwellers, of the horrors of child labor. Again, this was 1910. And so on. Do not read anything which fills your mind with gloomy images of want and suffering. You cannot help the poor in the least by knowing these things, and the widespread knowledge of them does not tend to do away with poverty. And that's true. We see it everywhere, especially in some of our richest cities like LA, San Francisco, New York City. It seems like the problem continues to get worse. It doesn't get better. Poverty can be done away with, but not by increasing the number of well-to-do people who think about poverty, by increasing the number of poor people who purpose with faith to get rich. The poor do not need charity. They need inspiration. Charity only sends them a loaf of bread to keep them alive in their wretchedness, or gives them an entertainment to make them forget for an hour or two. That one really hit home. I was like, eek. But inspiration will cause them to rise out of their misery. If you want to help the poor, demonstrate to them that they can become rich. Prove it by getting rich yourself. The only way in which poverty will ever be banished from this world is by getting a large and constantly increasing number of people to practice the teachings of the book. So what I really took from that is that the cycle continues because again, we're not enriching the mind. We provide things in terms of like food, right, clothing, but not the mindset of breaking the cycle. That's what's missing, right? And so I implore you, not that you got to go out and do certain things, but really take the power and the energy that you have, like through your gifts, whether it's baking, legal services, right, speech and language, whoever it is you're talking to at any given time, like just give them the knowledge that they can achieve anything they put their mind to, right? That's more powerful. That's a more powerful thing than something that's just going to help in the meantime. And so that's why poverty is not your focus. Of course, giving back, planning to give back when you have money, all those things are important. But while you're in this process, like you have to be focused on becoming rich. That's the only thing that's really going to help the world. Any thoughts on that? Okay, no thoughts? Okay, we'll continue. And so now, just in closing, what has history taught us? So that is Madam CJ Walker, excuse me. And, many people of color gained wealth in difficult times, right? She was the first she's recorded as the first female self-made millionaire, right? And this was in the 1800s, right? Not too long, not that many years, about 30 to 35 years after the Emancipation of Proclamation was signed, right? So my thing is, she didn't let whatever was going on in America stop her from creating her hair products and selling them. And so we can't let the limits of the world put limits on what it is that we do. And John D. Rockefeller was born within poverty. He was not born rich. He was barely educated. And he became one of the richest people in America, and also became vice president, right? So seeing that your money does not limit you, it's your mind. In all of this, it's your mind that limits you. It's not your race, it's not your ethnicity, it's not your sexuality, it's not your gender, it's your mind. And then, of course, George Washington Carver was born to parents who were slaves, right? And he created all those wonderful products from peanuts, right? He didn't let what was going on stop him. He knew that he was here for a purpose. He had a scientific mind. He knew that he was supposed to take these peanuts and turn them into the many things that he did. And he didn't let what was going on in the world limit what he did. If he would have, then he would have limited his mind. And so people of color and of poverty have defied the odds for many years. Don't let the color of your skin or size of your bank account dictate what you have access to. When you accept those beliefs, you limit your mind. And we know that when you are of divine mind, we are limitless. And so now's the time to take action. You have everything. You only have everything to gain. Everything to gain. Again, as I said in the beginning, most people with wealthy mindset, they do not go along with popular opinion. They do not. They don't do groupthink. They think on their own, right? Because they know that what they believe, what their thoughts are, what their actions are important to their well-being. And as long as, again, it's not hurting anyone with no harm to none, right? If it's just really believing the best about yourself, do it, regardless of what anybody says, or what anybody thinks. So how do you start taking action? Believe in yourself. Accept your divine creation. Know you are perfect in divine eyes. Wear it in your heart and as a badge. And of course, trust the power of your mind. And that's all I've got for tonight.
I just want to add to what you were saying, or just comments. Remember when I was talking to you yesterday about me working and me traveling everywhere, and I always fit in and wherever I'm at. And you're right, it's not the color of your skin. Because I was the only chocolate drop in the whole hospital for 9 months. And by the time I left, they loved me. They didn't want me to leave. So you're right, it is the power of your mind.
Yes, because when you go into any situation thinking they're going to treat me this way because of X, guarantee it, that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen, because this is the thing. When you put yourself in different situations, when you know your worth, when you know the power of yourself, people who don't mess with that, they're not going to mess with you. They're going to stay away. You're going to see that you won't even know what they may believe, what they may think, because they're going to stay over there. And that's where you want them to stay. You don't want to invite them in your energy with being afraid and being timid, looking around. Like, and I gotta be honest, like, when I did start going to nicer restaurants, I did feel a little unsure. About myself. And so what I say to you, to each of you, is like, start going into those stores. I think Shaquana was telling me about yesterday. She went to Las Vegas over the weekend, and she said she tried to go to the Hermes store, and she had to make an appointment, right? So getting on that level where it's more about becoming a part of that wealth energy where you get the appointment, more so than, oh, they're going to mistreat me because Oprah had an experience in Paris 25 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, okay, yes, they didn't know her, but that's not going to be everybody's experience. So just don't welcome those experiences on yourself just because somebody else has had them, because you are yourself. You're your own divine person. Anyone else like to add anything?
Just want to say this was definitely a good Zoom. Was kind of hurt I missed the last one, but I'm glad I was able to get up here and see everybody's lovely faces, and definitely touch into this. And I do appreciate the journal prompts that was in the workbook. It did have me think a lot. And it's kind of tie into what you say about the mindset, because and it's not even really our mindset, it's a generational mindset, because it's something that it was instilled in us from our parents, which of course was instilled in them by their parents. And of course it all stemmed from that trauma of what our ancestors went through. So, but this was very good. And I'm glad the journal prompts really helped me. Like, it really helped me think. I'm like, wow. I said, okay. I said, I never really played the race card in the sense of, okay, like you said, I'm gonna go to this nice restaurant because I want to go. I heard it's nice. I heard the food is great. Good drinks. I want to go. And I never really think of something's bad gonna happen, or if I walk in. Now, of course, if you kind of see you are the only one, initially you'd be like, okay, it's cool though. But hey, we're here. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna give off the good vibe and energy and keep it going. But I have been around people where they'll be like, I don't know, it's gonna be like this. And I swear it's always something. It never blows up or anything, but it's always, all of a sudden I will see it and I'm like, but I can go back 2 weeks later. It's just me, and it's good. So it is definitely about the mind, and definitely about that energy as well.
Right, definitely agree. And you'll see, especially as your circles elevate, as word gets out about your travel services, right? Word gets out about nursing experience, these cookies. However, you don't know whose house, right? You don't know whose customers you're attracting, right? But the whole point of it is is that you're attracting someone who sees you and what it is that you do, what it is that you have as valuable, and that they're willing to pay for it, and they don't care about any of that other stuff, right? And that's why the focus has to be on that. Like whatever it is you create, you're creating for the person who wants it, right? And that's why, you know, a lot of times, especially in business, they're like, well, what's your niche? Is it this kind of person, that kind of person, this or that? No, like in business, like try to get real particular about the characteristics that you want, not necessarily like the race, the age, things like that, that traditionally we're taught in business to focus on, right? Who's your character? I mean, your ideal customer, right? Really focus on those characteristics, those positive things, right? And of course, add in there, they're at my energetic spending level, right? So you don't have to drop your price to fit them, right? You want to attract the right person who's going to come to you and also going to use the right money to have your services. So for those who are, you know, I know some of you are in the midst of starting like different businesses and stuff, like that's just a little tip that I didn't know. I should have been more focused on those things than age, age and sex. Like those are the things people want you to traditionally focus on, but don't just focus on those things because then you won't get the right people. And so then that allows the right people to come regardless of what they look like, right? Because then you're attracting the right characteristics. And so all that stuff, it doesn't matter. All the things that society tells us to focus on. Like that's like the second question after your name, address. That's sometimes the next question. What's your race, ethnicity? Like that's the most next important thing. And so in our minds, we are programmed to think that those things matter the most because generally they're at the top of the list. And we know that when we're making lists, we list them from generally greatest importance to least importance. And so we just want to put those things, just take those off the list because none of those things really matter. Doesn't matter. And we have proof. So an assignment I was going to give you is to find a successful person that you admire and look for them for like their characteristics. Like I know a lot of times it's easy just to go for a woman because we're women, but it might be a man, especially if it's in something that you do. So cooking, baking, nursing, travel, Adia, counseling, Mari, I think baking, right? Might be Martha Stewart, maybe not. She went to jail. She's had a bounce back and have a better career now than she did when she before she went. Sunita, legal services, Laura Marie. I'm trying to think. You could do it's what is the word I want to use? Criminal justice. Sandrika, speech and language, right? You know, just really just people in your area of like expertise. Oh, Adia, it really maybe should be jewelry making now. Should be jewelry making.
We could add that.
But just really look for people who are successful in your area of passion and start to mirror those things, and don't immediately go to what it is they look like. Go to what it is like the person that they are, because those are things that we can embody and that we could grow in and attract those same qualities of people around us and in our circles, because that's most important, and not what somebody looks like. Because it gets real, because that's the thing. The default is that it's easy to go with the group that looks like us, but we're not here for easy. When I say we're not here for easy, like we're here for different. We're searching for something different, right? We want to be with the people who want what we want, who like to do what we like to do, who's a part of that, as I call that, wealth energy that we want. That's what we're going towards. Those are the people who are our people, not just people who look like us, but the people who embody the characteristics of what it is that we want, what it is that we do, and what it is that we want to have. That's where you want to go. So those are the people, like if you feel like you need a friend or something like that, attract those types of things into your life, because that will be more satisfying and that would be long lasting versus just going with somebody who looks like you. Like that's surface level. We going for deep. So stay on the deep side, not on the shallow side. Okay, well, if we don't have anyone else I'd like to share, oh my gosh, next week's our last week. I've enjoyed this so much. I know, this is so good. I was like, we just need to do this every once in a while anyway. That's what I was thinking, because let me stop pausing this.